Hello, and welcome to Hello, This is the Doom Show, a show dedicated to the albums of Mr. Bungle and anything that the Red Hot Chili Peppers are up to. No, wait. This is Hello, This is the Doom Show. I am Richard.
I am Flea.
Wait, who are you? Is this Brad?
I am Rick Rubin. This is Brad. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm kidding too. But no, this is really Hello, This is the Doom Show. Welcome to episode 28. I can't even believe how high of numbers we're getting. This is ridiculous.
I can't count past 30. So.
Oh shit, neither can I. This episode, we are talking about Lucio Fulci for the third time. The first time we talked about him, we talked about the Giallo films. The second time we talked about him, we talked about his golden era, which is, Zombies, City of the Living Dead, House by the Cemetery, The Black Cat, etc. And now, after many, many months of putting it off, we've finally reached Fulci Part 3, the non-horror films, which I think will be our most unique episode. I can't imagine anybody else doing this.
No, people have been clamoring for this on the internet.
Really?
Clamoring.
They have?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
No.
I hope people I'm sure there are people that are interested.
Well, there's going to be plenty for the genre fan.
Yes. Fulci never really set foot out of genre cinema ever. And he definitely went all over the map. As opposed to someone like Dario Argento, who did one historical drama, and then everything else has been horror and thrillers, except for his Phantom of the Opera comedy.
Right.
This is an episode that I am now really excited about, having gone through these films. We're going to go in order, and we just are going to do stuff we were able to track down and we both watched. I found White Fang, or the sequel challenge to White Fang. I'm not sure which one it was exactly, but the animal violence in the movie really put me off. The dogs in that movie are constantly in mortal danger. A lot of dog actors are forced to fight each other. And it just really creeped me out. So I said, I'm not going to watch this. They looked okay. I know they were pretty big hits, as far as I know.
Those are the only two that we didn't see that I wouldn't mind seeing. Yeah. Now, I don't know about all the dog violence and everything, but just to think that Franco Nero and Fulci made films based on White Fang is just, it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And that Franco came back for a sequel.
I know that John Steiner is the villain in one of them.
He's in both of them, I think.
Oh, nice. I love that dude. I also found another one of Fulci's comedies. He did a lot of comedies in the early days. I think it's called The Idiot, the Fool, and the Cat, or something like that. It's 1967 or 68. I found it. It looked like fun. It's about two idiots who are trying to get an inheritance, but they have to take care of an evil cat. And that's like written into the will. They must take care of this animal. And
that sounds interesting.
It looked fun, but I could not find subtitles, so we ditched that one. But we've got 11 films here, so I'm not really complaining.
Not at all.
So we're gonna go ahead and get started here. Are you ready, Brad? Are you ready for this shit?
I'm ready.
All right. In a little year called 1964, Lucio Fulci, a young director, a young man, probably a weird-looking dude, because he looked weird his whole life, directed a film called The Maniacs. It is a comedy, and the IMDb plot says that it is Well, it doesn't say what it is. It starts in the middle of a sentence. It says, features a series of brief comic sketches based on manias, mainly sexual, featuring several figures of Italian society. Okay, whoever wrote that is a retard. Because it starts in the middle of a sentence like, look, you're not James Joyce. You can't do that. Sketches is misspelled as shetches, and it just doesn't make any sense. This is an anthology film, which of course is always popular in Italian cinema. Everyone loves that. And it does indeed feature, who doesn't like that? It does indeed feature comic sketches. It's a fun film. I enjoyed it. We got the major players involved. Our Barbara Steele is in a segment. Margaret Lee, who is in Venus in Furs. That's Jess Franco's Venus in Furs. Venus in Furs will be smiling. Sorry. It also features Rada Razumov, who I really like. I think
you're a Rada fan.
I am. I want more Rada. That's a weird sentence. Music by Ennio Morricone and Carlo Rusticelli. The DVD, I think it's a Maya. Is that a Maya Communication one?
I think so.
Well, thanks for all your help, IMDb. IMDb's nuts.
Checking out the internet.
No, I'm not going to look it up. I'm pretty sure it's Maya. The copy they have is pretty decent. The black and white cinematography looks very nice.
It does indeed.
It's a moderately amusing film. It's got some okay stuff to it. I mean, I wasn't like blown away. It was really well directed.
There were a few segments that I really enjoyed.
La, 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 la. I'm looking.
You want me to tell you what they are?
Hell yeah! Tell me what they are. Damn it.
There was one called Sport that I really enjoyed. Kind of turning the tables on a position of authority. The Barbara Steele one I didn't understand until I read the synopsis for it. I think that's the problem, kind of, sort of, with some of that stuff. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm from Kentucky.
It doesn't translate to our culture.
Yeah. And I'm just not very sophisticated. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, I felt guilty about laughing about that.
Funny.
I don't know how I feel about that statement.
Well, I was thinking about that new movie 43, that got the terrible reviews, and it's a bunch of vignettes, comedy vignettes. And I was thinking about how, from what I read, I would rather watch The Maniacs again instead of movie 43,
yeah.
Because I mean there were some very funny parts in The Maniacs.
There were.
And I think, is it the only sex comedy that Barbara Steele was ever in?
Man, Barbara Steele wasn't in enough of anything.
No, you're right about that.
Oh, man. She wasn't in enough Italian films. She wasn't in enough slasher movies. She wasn't in enough Canadian horror movies.
No, she wasn't. Any Philippine actioners? Oh,
I know. I definitely laughed out loud at this movie. There are some pretty choice moments. And they make fun of, polite society. I think they make fun of soldiers, too. They have some kind of World War II skits. Or just
they poke fun at the Catholic Church, which is...
Oh, yeah, that obnoxious couple.
Yeah.
They're trying to buy all the antiques, quote unquote.
Yeah. Fulci he was known for being in trouble with the Catholics. So.
Oh, yeah, we'll be getting into that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Man. I did notice there was a J&B at 13 minutes into the movie. And I think that might be the earliest J&B sighting I've ever seen. Wow. Yeah.
Well, the problem with discussing this film is that you ruin jokes. We could tell all the setups, then it wouldn't make any sense without the payoff.
No.
So, would you recommend this to Fulci fans?
I would definitely recommend it to Fulci fans so they could see the scope of his work because Fulci's career mirrors the careers of a lot of Italian directors who were that age that survived the peplum days and the spaghetti western days and moved into gialli and then moved into horror later and then went to the old staple, the post-apocalyptic film. So, I mean, I would say I recommend it with the condition that, this is definitely a comedy with dark humor, but has nothing to offer the horror fan. But if you're really into Fulci, I would say check this one out.
Excellent.
I'm probably going to say that about all of these.
I don't know, I think we're going to come up on some that will definitely appeal to the goopy Fulci fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, moving right along, 1966, we have Massacre Time, which has a couple other names, like When the Colt Sings Death, It's Massacre Time, which I just love. So, let's see, Massacre Time, The Brute and the Beast, which I like.
I like it.
Looks like something Pistols of Death, I don't know. Cult Concert, Django the Runner, yeah, this got all kinds of weird shit, who knows. This one made me very happy when I found out it existed. I was really into Fulci, and then I've discovered that he'd done a spaghetti western. Whoa. But before I get into all that, this film stars 3 badass dudes. We got Franco Nero, George Hilton, and Nino Castelnuovo, or Castelnuovo. I always mess his name up. Franco Nero, spaghetti western god. George Hilton, king of the giallo. Nino Castelnuovo, the dude who tried to put it in Edwidge Finesh's butt in Strip Nude for Your Killer.
It's a triple play.
That's quite a feat. I think we're going to be talking about Strip Nude for Your Killer for the rest of our adult lives.
We should.
It's quite a movie. Let's see. IMDb has a plot for this thing because, hey, I'm too lazy to summarize on my own. We got a prospector must fight a sadistic man and his son who have taken over his ranch. Actually, I think the son is the sadistic one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Franco Nero gets dicked over and is trying to get his land back. Man, this is a good Western. I really like it. Like I was saying before, I was really happy to find out that Fulci had done spaghetti Westerns, especially one from the classic era, which is, I'd say, anything before 1968, 69. I mean, spaghetti Westerns were pretty solid up through the early 70s, but then they just got so unpopular that only people who really, really wanted to make one made one.
Well, and it's going to sound derogatory, but it's not at all. This is almost your standard spaghetti Western setup, I think.
Without a doubt.
Would you disagree with that? Or, yeah, you'd agree?
I agree completely.
Revenge, family ties. I mean, there's good cinematography. And, no, I remember the first time I saw this, I was very excited, too, because, Fulci, and a lot of these Italian directors, like you said, if you really get into their horror and you're like, well, I wonder how they do a spaghetti Western, then they probably did. Even Bava did a spaghetti Western.
He did a couple of them.
Yeah, he did a couple. Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, it was really exciting to watch this, and then my wife has a major thing for George Hilton.
As most women do.
Yeah, I mean, a major thing. And then you've got Franco Nero. I mean, you can't possibly go wrong. Plus, the film was written by, did you see who it was written by?
Fernando De Leo. Nice.
So, I mean, really, you've got just a ton of talent going into it.
Yeah.
The same year that Nero made Django, I wasn't surprised that it was called Django something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Django inspired all his fake sequels. So funny.
Yeah, now, I don't know. Is there a really, really pristine print of this out there?
I don't know. I think I have the German DVD, and it looks pretty good. But I wouldn't say it's pristine.
Right.
Where'd you get yours from? Do you also have the German one, or?
I want to say I got mine from you.
Oh.
So
then you have a copy of my German.
Well, it just seemed like it wasn't quite as... I don't know. It's been a while. I've seen it twice. I saw it once a while back, and then I saw it once in preparation for the show.
Yeah.
But that's been a little while ago now. Just seemed like it might have been a little bit fuzzy. I mean, it's not...
Maybe a little.
It's not Django.
I'd like to... I mean, it would be a good one for Blu-ray. If they had the original film, why not, you know? Mm-hmm. Two of the things I like about it. One, Franco Nero, George Hilton play brothers. Another thing, George Hilton plays the drunk of the two. But of course, he's a badass, you know, gunslinger, of course.
I was just going to say, this was the first non-giallo appearance that I saw of George Hilton.
Me too.
So, it was doubly refreshing to see him not playing the suave, debonair kind of guy.
Yeah. The setting is really perfect, you know, for the spaghetti western. It's dry, desolate. There's all that white stucco on the buildings. Just looks so cool. This is a great double feature with Johnny Yuma. With, oh shit. Who's the dude with the big giant teeth? Mark Damon. The dude from The Devil's Wedding Night. Oh, yes. Yeah. He is in Johnny Yuma, and Johnny Yuma is freaking great. So yeah, and I think I've watched Massacre Time probably 4 or 5 times, so it's always Massacre Time for me.
Exactly. Now, you know, I have known Western fans that do not want to watch spaghetti westerns, and I've told them that's ridiculous. Because you're limiting yourself, first of all. And second of all, with the dubbing, if you're not paying very close attention, you would never know, you know,
right?
That it's not just some low-budget Western from the 60s. So, do you think that the Fulci fans would get into Massacre Time?
Absolutely. Especially if you just like Westerns in general, this is a great intro to spaghetti westerns. It's really cool to see Fulci doing action. You know, the action's really good in this. And it's got this sadistic streak, because Nino Castelnuovo plays a real piece of shit in this one. He's a real sadist. Like, he really is totally insane. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this.
Well, it's interesting because I think that Fulci was still somewhat of a journeyman director at this point, wouldn't you say? You know, it maybe not found, which, I mean, we're doing the non-horror Fulci, but there's tons that we didn't see because you can't get it.
Exactly. Yeah, this is...
Tons.
This is, you know, one of the first non-comedies, because Fulci really just did comedy after comedy after comedy with that duo... shit. Poopy and Farty. I don't know what the hell their names are. Let me look them up. That's
probably pretty close.
They were in, both of them were in The Maniacs. This is the kind of day I've been having. I go to do something simple and I get totally fucked. Alright, anyway, I can't find them. I know they're in The Maniacs, but there was also 300 people in The Maniacs.
Shirty and Farty. How about that?
Yeah. Anyway, Fulci did a bunch of comedies with these two comedians and just did a bunch of them back to back. And I think he started assistant directing and then worked into this. And for his first spaghetti western, he really kicked ass. So yeah, can't help but recommend this one.
No, it's good stuff.
Hell yeah. Shall we move right along?
Let's do it.
All right, we move to 1969 for a historical drama. This was a hard movie to find for a long time. I was really really excited about finding this movie, and then I found it, and I was less excited. No, just kidding. Yeah. This is a biographical drama of a real person. Beatrice Cenci is the title. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. It could be Beatrice Cenci, but believe it's Beatrice Cenci. This is about a young Italian noblewoman who plots with her lover and her family to murder her abusive father, leading to an uproar in the community and the Roman Catholic Church, set in 16th century Italy. And this movie stars Thomas Milian, who we'll be seeing at least one more time.
One more time, I think.
Yeah, in this episode. Also, Adrienne LaRussa. She plays the titular character. Adrienne LaRussa, I had never heard of before. But then I saw her in Psych Out for Murder.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Folks, track down Psych Out for Murder. It is the shit. It is a lot of fun. It's an American-Italian giallo, and it's weird. This also has a bunch of people in it. I don't recognize a lot of these folks. The big thing I noticed was that Enzo Menchzer, no idea if I'm saying that right. He served as cinematographer on this film as well as one of my favorites, Dario Argento's Cat o' Nine Tails.
Really?
Oh, yeah. What did you think of this movie, Brad?
Well, first of all, I'd like to mention what I believe is the German title of the film, which is Die Necktie an der Cardinal.
Ooh.
So, the necktie under the cardinal. Which probably would lead some people to think it's a giallo, but
maybe.
It's not.
The lurid title is A Conspiracy of Torture.
Conspiracy of Torture.
Mm.
No, it plays out pretty much in a flashback structure, which I kind of enjoyed because it's something that I'm not used to in Italian cinema, or at least in genre cinema. And I had read that it wasn't a horror film, but that it could be comfortably placed on the very, very edge outskirt of the horror genre. So I went into it thinking that, and it's a very moving film. It deals with basically being mistreated by your father and him getting away with it because he is part of he's an aristocrat.
Yeah.
And then what measures that you would go to put an end to it. And even then, he's kind of somewhat absolved because of his standing in the community, even though it seems like everyone knows that he's mistreating folks. So, of all the Fulci films I've seen, it is probably the most unique, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw that Eli Roth had put out a list of horror films you've not seen, and he put this on his list, which I found to be interesting. But, it's a costume piece, period piece. I don't want to go into it super, super heavy.
Yeah.
Because I think it's best just to let it unfold before you. But no, I was and of course it got him in trouble with the Catholic Church. Which, from all indications, if you got in trouble with authorities of any kind in Italy during this time, it was the Catholic Church.
Exactly.
Getting in trouble with anyone equated to getting in trouble with the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
But what's your impression on the film?
I was kind of let down at first with this movie, but then I remembered that I needed to completely switch gears.
Uh-huh.
Because it's so somber, depressing, dusty. This is a period piece through and through. Not a lot of laughs to be had.
No, not at all.
It's a pretty badass movie. There's a moment where Don Francesco, that he's the evil son of a bitch. He's throwing a party, and I think one or both of his sons have died, but he kind of hated them anyway. So he's like celebrating instead of mourning. So he invites the whole, aristocracy of the area to come and party with him. And Beatrice Cenci, she shows up in a mourning dress. And it's that act of defiance, like she really was a character. She really was someone that you could look up to and watch, and you cared about her through her struggle, and that's really cool. So it ended up being a really good movie. Rewatchability, yeah. One day maybe I'll give this one another spin. It's kind of tough to sit through. Just not like.
I mean, it starts at the end.
Yes, it's definitely
so
edited.
Things are not going to go well.
I like that non-linear, and in fact, it doesn't warn you when it's jumped back and forth through time, which I thought was really cool. So, I mean, this is like one of those movies you show people when they're like saying Fulci is a hack. Just show them this, and there you go. There's your proof that he could do anything.
Absolutely.
So,
now, would you recommend this to Fulci fans?
Yes, no, kind of maybe. I mean, this would be to me a diehard Fulci fan only. This is more like when you've seen everything else, check this one out.
Right.
That's not a statement on the quality of the film, just a statement on, oh hey, historical dramas. How do you like them? Not my favorite genre.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I mean, it's got some of Fulci's cynicism in it.
Oh yeah. This is where it starts to show. I mean, Fulci, as we talked about in our other episodes on Fulci, he was a very angry, cynical man. And we'll be getting to a lot more of those titles that show you just how deep that ran through his character. But yeah, this is a perfect example of that.
The necktie under the cardinal.
Yep. Watch out for that spiracy, y'all. C-O-N-spiracy. Of torture. Alright, up next, we have a little film called The Eroticist from 1972, a.k.a. The Senator Likes Women, a.k.a. Big Long Crazy Title. It has, the original title is like, oh man, I'm not even going to try to say this in English. I'm going to pop this into the old handy dandy translator. Hi internet, can you help me? Basically it translates to, the senator likes women despite appearances and as long as the nation does not know. Whew.
Exactly.
Wow. Oh, we got a long plot one here. It goes, an Italian senator and a candidate to be the next president of Italy tries to find a cure to his uncontrollable sexual harassment urges, while a group of corrupt politicians linked to dangerous Vatican officials try to keep the news under wraps. This is a wild film, dude. This was a tough film to find a good copy of. The first copy that came out under the Senator Likes Women was garbage. It looked like shit, and it was 20 minutes shorter than it was supposed to be. Right. The uncut version, called The Eroticist, which Severin put out, much more watchable, and is I think it's 96 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
And let's see, who's in this? Let's see. The very odd-looking Lando Buzzanca. I believe a comedic actor. Weirdest jaw I've ever seen on a human being. He's in this. TV Zone, Lionel Stander is in this. My wife was pointing at the screen going, "It's that dude from Heart to Heart." And let's see who else is in this. The lovely, lovely Laura Antonelli is in this. And in a small role, Anita Strindberg. She plays the French ambassador's wife, and it's amazing.
Agostina Belli's in it.
Who's that?
The girl from Night of the Devils.
No.
She plays Sister Brunhilde.
Oh, man. I knew I'd recognize that nun somewhere.
Yeah.
Good eye,
that's
my
her.
friend. Good eye. Oh, man. Night of the Devils. Night of the Devils on Blu-ray, dog.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I have it.
So do I.
We're awesome. Okay.
We are.
So I was very glad to see the longer version of this movie. It's pretty wacky, but don't let it fool you. This is a depressing movie. I found this movie, I was depressed when it was over. It's something. This guy, well, first everyone thinks he's gay because he's not married. And
right.
That's bad enough, apparently, because everyone's just talking so much shit about him all the time. But then they discover that he has this uncontrollable urge to grab ladies' butts, and then all hell breaks loose. Which is funny, because wasn't the recent Italian prime minister just like this? Like a total sexual maniac?
Total grab ass.
Wow. Okay. Because I know that dude was proud of his affairs. Like, he was like, whatever, I'm Italian.
Exactly.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around this movie.
There was money in this film.
Yeah, no doubt.
Quite a bit, I would say. I mean, it's got a sweeping scale to it.
Yeah. I wrote down grand scale insanity. I also wrote down the most cynical film of all time. Because you got. I mean,
basically.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, basically, the first thing that I thought when I saw it was, you at the same time in America, you would never have a film about a senator that everyone thought was gay at first, but then had this problem with grabbing women's butts, and then a plot with the church to cover it up so that their monkey boy, could be the next president of the United States. You'd never have that in America at that time.
I like how everybody has an interest in this thing, like the mafia, the Vatican, even the military, and then just the politicians. So all these forces working seemingly for the same cause, but against each other. I liked the Fellini-esque fantasy sequences. They were wonderful. Yeah, this is a scathing satire. I mean, really, really, just everyone's a dick. I did have a moment that really blew me away. I had a vibe moment, which is the famous Euro horror vibe that I always talk about, where you're just overcome by this feeling of dread and horrific gothic beauty, The Cardinal is watching the film of Senator Poopies grabbing a woman's butt. And they're sitting in a little theater in the church, and they have the film running back and forth, but they're in the dark, and all of the empty seats are covered with like red linen.
Uh-huh.
And man, that scene gave me chills for some reason. I was like, whoa, like it was really eerie. I like that. Was not expecting that from this movie.
Like you were saying, the fantasy scenes were amazing. And definitely, I think, worthy of Fellini. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it was his attempt to kind of ape that style, and he did it flawlessly. Trying to think if I have anything else. There was lots of J&B in this movie. Oh man, somebody got a free case. Somebody got a free case of J&B for this film set.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me ask you this: would you recommend this to a Fulci fan?
I would, mainly just so you can see how bitter. Just for a good farce, for a really powerful film. Yeah, I'd recommend this. This is good stuff, but I only recommend the long version. Don't bother with the 74-minute cut or how short it is. It's not worth it.
I would say, without passing judgment on it, I think it's essential Fulci. I think if you love The Beyond, then you need to see The Eroticist.
Nice.
I think it goes a long way. I do. I think it's he'd stepped out after Beatrice Cenci, and then did this very controversial, but controversial like in the other direction.
Yeah.
This controversial film. And I think that he was really starting to show his grit as a filmmaker. I think he was hitting a stride here.
Yeah, this definitely offended some people.
Oh, no doubt.
I will stress, this is a painfully sad movie. Don't let the laughs fool you, man. It's going to get you.
This is the film he did in between A Lizard in a Woman's Skin and Don't Torture a Duckling.
Crazy.
So that's the level of filmmaking. Yeah, that's the level of filmmaking that we're looking at here.
What a trilogy.
Yeah, no joke.
All right, moving right along. We're trucking along here. We're going to skip another 3 years in time. 1975. We're going to talk about 4 of the Apocalypse. And let me tell you, there's no apocalypse in this movie. Where's the apocalypse, man? What's the plot synopsis here? 4 petty criminals, 3 men and a woman, wander through the trackless terrain of the Wild West, Utah, and are hounded by a sadistic bandit. Chaka Chaka Bra.
Chaka Chaka.
That sounds way more exciting than this movie, let me tell you. Hounded? I don't think so. Followed at a brisk pace? Not really. Happenstance? Accidental? Sure.
Aimlessly wandered after.
Okay, son of a bitch. This movie. We got Fabio Testi, whose name you might recognize from your testicles. No. Fabio Testi, from What Have You Done to Solange and some other great films. Thomas Million, who I hate in this movie, but I think that was the point. We got Michael J. Pollard. How in the world did an American character actor like Michael J. Pollard end up in Italy and to make this film? I have no idea. We have...
he doesn't creep me out either. He doesn't creep me out like he normally does either.
No, he's actually kind of a good character in this. We have Adolfo Lustretti, who doesn't look as weird in this movie. He was in Spasmo as the assassin early in the movie.
Spasmo.
So this real skinny, weird-looking bastard in I think a black, it's either velour or a black, what's that material? Oh man, I can't think of it. I think it's either.
I think it's Spasmo.
Yeah, it's Spasmo. Anyway, he's in this. Bruno Corazzari. I forgot who he is. Oh, yeah, familiar dude from The Black Cat, Body Puzzle, The Psychic. He's in a lot of good stuff. Real beautiful, sexy guy. Also Donald O'Brien from 7 Bloodstained Orchids.
Uh-huh.
And cinematography by Sergio Salvati, who worked with Fulci a number of times. Oh, great cinematographer.
You're missing Lynn Frederick. Bunny, the lead actress.
Yeah? I didn't look her up.
She was Peter Sellers' last wife, and she is in Pete Walker's criminally underrated Schizo.
Oh,
She's
nice.
the main actress in it.
Oh man, I feel like such a dumbass. I did not even click on her. Phase 4 too. That weird ant movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about For the Apocalypse, sir?
I'm going to say something that I don't know that you'll necessarily agree with, but I loved it.
Really?
It is, yes, it is, as you've termed them, a spaghetti depressern.
Yes.
But it is strangely moving towards the end. You've got a really solid lead actor in Fabio Testi, whom I really enjoy. And it kind of falls within that, almost that Keoma, Menage late spaghetti western kind of feel,
Absolutely.
where it's not quite standard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not quite like a psychedelic western, but kind of along the more progressive ilk. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's the strongest. Here's a spoiler alert. I think it's the strongest of his 3 spaghetti westerns. I think that you were right. I absolutely hate Thomas Millian in this film. Just a real right bastard. It's an interesting story that, you know, these 4 people are in the desert and they're being followed by this just insane guy.
Yeah.
And the things that happen, there's one, I'm not going to spoil it, but in about 3/4 of the way through, there's this one just heartbreaking moment. And you know where a character does something and you know that it's not right, but they don't know it's not right. And it's just, I think it's just a very well-made film.
Oh, yeah. That is a great moment. Genius.
Yeah, and then revenge is gotten by who needs to take revenge.
Yeah.
In the end. And it's not enough.
No. So not enough.
So no. And it's I think it's a really good spaghetti western.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this to Fulci fans?
I'm going to say no comment. First of all, when I bought this film originally many years ago, I read the review that warned me that this was not a typical spaghetti western, that go into it not expecting anything, just enjoy the ride. And I tried really hard, and I ended up hating this movie. I hated For the Apocalypse. Immediately sold the DVD as fast as possible after I viewed it. I was so disappointed and bored with this movie. I just was shocked. Now, as we were preparing for this episode, I kept putting off For the Apocalypse. Just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I did not want to rewatch it at all. But I realized that whenever I do that, it's usually something wrong with me, not the movie itself. Right. So I watched For the Apocalypse. Basically half of it yesterday, the other half today. And I've come around to it. I do appreciate the film. I hesitate to recommend it just because it's a very ponderous, it's like a, kind of like a journey film. It reminds me of Sergio Corbucci's Hellbenders. Have you seen that one?
No, sir. But it's got Joseph Cotton, right? Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of that, but way more depressing. Way more, I guess I already used the word ponderous. Yes, absolutely a spaghetti depressern. But you know what? It is great characterization, great acting. Everyone's really good in it. It's shot beautifully. Has this feeling of dread everywhere. I mean, it has explosive violence in moments, but really the most violence is in the beginning of the movie, where a masked group of vigilantes basically slaughters a town of bandits. It's pretty incredible. But yeah, I've come around to it. Will I ever like this movie? Like really genuinely like it? I don't know, but it definitely won me over, and I respect this film.
Right.
And man, Thomas Million. Oh, God, I can't. I mean, the best thing he does in the movie is he gives them peyote. That's the best moment. Because he's actually giving them something. You know? Or no,
right.
he does shoot some ducks. So he commits some animal cruelty for us. Okay, hunting. Whatever. That's all I have to say about
excellent.
that one.
Right. I got you.
Word.
Go watch it.
Oh, yeah. Let's rock on to the same year, 1975. Of course, Fulci would totally go in an opposite direction and do a film called Young Dracula, also known as... Whoa. Oh, man. You want to talk about long titles. This is a crazy long title. I'm translating once again. The Demonic Count Constante, Dracula in Brianza. Ugh. Young Dracula. That is the title.
Or Dracula of the Provinces.
Oh, yes, thank you. I forgot about that title. Dracula of the Provinces, or Dracula in the Provinces. Let's see. Do we have any kind of a plot synopsis here? This long one. A boorish, snobbish toothpaste factory owner named Constantino Nicosia gives his wife and everyone a hard time, having let success and wealth go to his head. But after the... Oh, here we go. Superticus? Nicosia has an encounter with an elderly gypsy aunt, and a business trip to Romania results in an encounter with a suave vampire named Count Dragulescu. He returns with blood-sucking-like qualities, which makes him re-examine his life and existence. Yes, it does.
It certainly does.
You want to talk about switching gears? You can't switch gears any harder than I did when I watched Silver Saddle, which we'll be talking about later, a spaghetti western, and then I watched Young Dracula. I was not ready for that. Not ready for that.
I bet.
Not ready for it in any way, shape, or form. You know, and just in my mind, going from For the Apocalypse to this one is like totally mind-bending. We have, again, weird-looking Lando Buzanka. We have Rosanna Brazzi is in this. He was in Psych Out for Murder. There's another recommend from me to you. Psych Out for Murder.
Thank you.
The so luscious Sylvia Koshina. We got John Steiner of Tenebrae. Valentina Corteza of Juliet of the Spirits. We got Sergio Salvati shooting this thing. And Poopy Avati co-wrote the screenplay.
Indeed.
Good old Poopy. I laughed my ass off. I mean, I laughed so hard at one particular scene a particular scene made me particularly laugh in a particular way. I really do like Young Dracula. I hated the ending, so it kind of colored the rest of the movie for me. The character of Constante or Constantine, whatever his name is such a dick that only I could relate to him. His morbid goth family is genius. Like, his family is the only character more irritating than this main dude is his horrible family. That the whole family is a character. What did you think of this movie, Brad?
I'm gonna shock you and say I had trouble with this film.
Really?
And yes, I don't know if I wasn't in the mood for it when I watched it. I thought it was good. I thought there were funny parts, but as a whole, it just didn't click with me.
Okay.
Now, I am not precluding another viewing because the lead actor, Lando, whatever his name was, an eroticist, I like him. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
I think he's a good leading man. So, It's pretty funny. Once again, though, in America, you would not have a film about a businessman who gets cursed and then gets a giant dose of gay panic.
Right.
And then has to reevaluate his life. And I liked the film, but it just didn't click with me quite right.
The chance for social satire here is kind of not really an issue. It's definitely poking fun at the typical Italian male, without really solving anything, or making it any better. I'm trying to think. I mean, it is.
The execution of the premise is well done.
Yeah, I just really, I think I see what you mean. It lost me with the ending. The ending is so predictable and so bad and so poorly done that I just was annoyed as shit. Like, that's how you're going to end this thing? But other than that, yeah, this kind of hit a lot of great beats for me. And the scene I will call this a life-changing scene. One of the most incredible scenes ever. He travels to Romania to expand the business. And he gets there, and the moment he's in his hotel, he gets a note saying they're postponing the meeting. So he gets all huff and puff and pissed off and heads down to the nightclub in the hotel, and he sees another Italian businessman there, and they sit down at the same table, and the businessman tells him, I've been here for 40 days, so just be prepared, get comfortable. And they're immediately complaining about the food and the how common everybody is, how stupid the townspeople are. They don't even have champagne. Instead of champagne, they have water with some seltzer in it. I mean, it's just going on and on about how backwards Romania is and how it's all the communists' fault and, et cetera. There's a lot of poking fun at communists in this movie. But the moment that really just sends this movie off into another stratosphere, into the stratosphere, maybe the stratosphere of another planet, is when the nightclub singer announces that there's 2 Italian men in there. She starts singing opera at them. And he asks the other businessman to dance with him. And they get up and they dance together like a waltz, while everyone who works in the hotel nightclub is applauding them. I jumped out of my seat. I was laughing so hard. This is the best moment in the movie. Holy shit. One of the best moments in Italian cinema. Just genius. Genius. So. Oh, man. That's all I have to say about this.
So, do you think that fans of Fulci should seek this out?
I think that they could check it out. I would say based on your reaction and my reaction to my disappointment with the ending, I'd say tread carefully. You could do a lot worse, certainly.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I always think you get a really great look at a culture by watching their crap cinema. And I think this is one of the crappiest films I've seen Fulci do. It's still watchable. It's still shot really well and has a plot and is interesting. But yeah, this is garbage. Like, good garbage. So yeah, Why not? Give it a shot. Maybe you'll find it funnier than I did, Excellent.
Yeah, that's the first 6 movies. Wow, 6 movies. Not bad, huh?
Not bad at all.
Folks, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and finish off this badass freaking list. We got we got 5 more movies to talk about.
5 more.
Come back after the break, and we will bite your butt. Did we even mention that he bites butts? Well, he bites one butt in particular.
You mention it now.
All right. The gay vampire
You
stuff.
reckon that Fulci's like, okay, You think Fulci told Lando, all right, in my last film, you had to go around grabbing women's butts, but this time we're going to have you biting men's butts. What do you say?
Nice. Okay, one more scene I got to talk about. Is it okay? I mean, it's okay that I'm revealing some of these jokes, right? I'm not like ruining the whole movie, am I?
No.
Okay, like anyone's gonna watch this fucking movie. Anyway, there's a scene right after he wakes up in bed with the vampire guy, and he immediately flies back into Italy. His hair is standing straight up like he's buckwheat, like he's been shocked, like he set his finger in a light socket, right? But he's walking off the tarmac or wherever he is, and his family's there to greet him. And the first person that comes up to him is that hunchback. He's always rubbing the hump. He doesn't even look at the guy. He says, "Up yours." Then his secretary is there, and he's like, "Up yours." And then his business partner is there, and he's like, "Up yours." And he's just walking past all these people. But his wife is there. And she's like, "Honey, where are you going?" And he looks at her and he goes, "Yeah, double for you," and keeps going. Oh, shit. Yep. Anyway, we'll be back.
Will you take the responsibility for the death of those 6 men?
Night Riders spread terror.
Carradine!
And those that can run from death.
No one of my dead is buried in this land.
One will be now.
Until these two defy the fire of 100 guns.
Hey folks, we are back from our break, and we are going to 1976. Lucio Fulci and Edwidge Fenech, Edwiggy de Duder, whatever the fuck her name is, finally together. And the film is called La Praetora, or The Judge, or The Courtroom. I kind of got confused about what Praetora means. I'm pretty sure it's Judge. We have Edwidge Fenech. We have Rossano Brazzi. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong list. Hold on. Excuse me. Edwidge Fenech. Mario Maranzana. He was in The Dead or Alive. He was the fat guy with the mustache in Dead or Alive. I'm saying The Dead Are Alive. Yeah, really? The Dead Are Alive, not The Dead or Alive. We have a Fulci cameo. We finally have a Fulci cameo in all these movies we've been talking about. And as far as the crew goes, I found this very surprising. Laura Toscana and Franco Marotta, the writing duo that wrote this thing, also wrote The Night Child.
I love The Night Child.
The Night Child is a fun, gothic, cool movie. Oh, I didn't do the plot. Here comes another IMDb for you. This one's written by Anonymous. It says, "Intransigent magistrate." That's all you need to know. Intransigent? What the... Anyway. Just to give it justice, intransigent magistrate Viola Orlando is targeted by her rivals who hire her twin sister Rosa, a high-class prostitute and pornographic photo novel star, to visit Rome and to set her up to impersonate Viola and demolish Viola's reputation. Viola is torn between enforcing the law or giving up her seat on the bench to marry her childhood friend. That's close. I didn't realize that she was supposed to be a prostitute. She did act like a prostitute.
I just looked up Praetora, and it means beautiful naked woman.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. How about this, folks? You have one of the most beautiful women in all of European cinema, Edwidge Fenech. She's even in one of her most iconic outfits, a bikini bottom, and then 2 sunflowers glued very precariously to her nipples. And it's just like, I don't care what gender you are. It's going to make your eyes bug out a little bit when you see it. She is gorgeous. 1976 was a very good year.
Yes, it was.
I like this one. This was a fun movie. I thought it was a little too long. But the way the ending wrapped up, I saw the ending coming, but I still liked it. Let me look at my notes here. I'm just making it up. It has a little tinge to it of, I don't know, male chauvinism, maybe? Just a little?
Maybe just realism at the time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where she has to choose between her career and marriage, and it's like, and I won't tell you how it ends, but let's just say that feminists will not be pleased.
There are no feminists listening to this show.
No. This movie is fun, offensive, ridiculous. Definitely a sexy film. Not too many sex scenes. There's kind of like one big sex scene. The rest of it's just a lot of sexy jokes. Everybody is funny in this. I mean, there weren't any characters that weren't funny. Everybody was pretty good. Fulci really knows how to stick it to authority figures. Edwidge Finch's the other judges, like the other prosecutors that she works with, are the biggest morons and perverts and just scum-sucking pigs ever. There's a scene early in the movie that I thought was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. It's they're screening a dirty movie to see if it should be banned. Or to see what charges they need to press against the people who made it. And I thought that was particularly inspired since Fulci had already had run-ins with censors at this point, multiple offenses, that scene was spot on, especially the projectionist selling tickets to his buddies there's like one projectionist and then 14 perverts watching the film from the projection booth. Man, what did you think of this?
Okay, a few things. One, she's the queen of the gialli. She is also, in my opinion, the queen of the sex comedy. You get a serious, icy cold Edwig and a very frivolous, fun-loving Edwig, because there's twins. She plays twins in the same film. Yeah. So you actually get to see a little bit of a range. Two, you take the nudity out, and this could have been a screwball comedy from the 40s. You leave the nudity in, and it could have been a madcap comedy from the 80s. I think it could work very contemporarily.
Nice.
I think that it was funny. It wasn't just a bunch of jokes just intertwined. I think it had a good plot. I think that it's essential viewing for Fulci fans, really, and because if you're a Fulci fan, more often than not, you're probably a fan of gialli. If you're a gialli fan, you're an Edwig fan. So I mean, why not combine the two? And really, you get three because she plays twins. I just thought it was a really well done movie. It's my favorite of the sex comedies that we saw him do, easily. It's not as fanciful as the eroticist.
No,
but it's my favorite.
Yeah, it wasn't trying to be high art either.
No, no, and probably a lot of it has to do with the fact that she's in it, and I just love her. I mean, come on.
What's really funny to me is instead of making Rosa so dumb she didn't know what was going on, she was immediately up to the scheme to impersonate her sister, to accept checks of bribes on behalf of her unknowing sister. Like, that was really interesting, because my wife and I were watching this, and I was like, does she know that she's being a bad person? And Leota's like, oh yeah. So, yeah, this
what did
is...
Leota think about it?
She really liked it. She really enjoyed it. She thought it was fun. She didn't have a problem with the ending. She just didn't bother her, but I was just like, man, that's just politically incorrect. That would not fly now. I mean, well, you know what though? Movies like this slip under the radar all the time. People don't even think about it half the time. So maybe this would get made now, just like you're saying, it's a contemporary plot.
I think so.
I don't know.
Do you think that Fulci fans should seek this out then?
Yeah, I agree with you totally on the Edwidge Finesse angle. This would be a great movie to follow up after City of the Living Dead or Zombie. Like, it would just be so fun to be like, let's switch gears and check out what else this dude does.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's solid. It's a solid movie. Wow. Did you catch the button gag? Where
I'm not sure.
Okay, she's seducing the perverted judge, and he's crouched in front of her desk because he thinks it's Viola, but it's actually Rosa, and she's naked under her gown, and he stands to attention, and her entire desk raises up. Like, his erection is making the desk rise up, and then all of a sudden it falls to the ground, and he goes, oh, it was my button. It was a button of his shirt was caught on the desk instead of his dick.
Right. Wow.
Oh, man. See, you can't explain this stuff. You have to see it. It was great. It was a good visual dick joke. But hey, it's all buttons. Maybe he was hung like a button. Hung like a button. Are we ready to move on?
Like a button.
What was that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right,
we're
gonna move on 2 years to 1978. This is Silver Saddle, also known as They Died with Their Boots On, which is true of the Old West. A lot of people did. Let's see. Let's look up this plot here. It's pretty, I think this plot is even more generic than Massacre Time.
Yes, I agree.
From IMDb, we have a young boy who sees his father gunned down, kills the assassin. Years later, he has grown up to be a successful bounty hunter who is feared by many. And then one day, he discovers secrets to his past, ... Whoa, man, what's in those dots?
Danger.
That's literally nothing of the plot. No, that's the beginning of the movie. He saves a kid from getting killed, and saves the kid from getting killed a bunch of times, and then stuff happens. We've got, I had no way to segue out of that. I'm screwed. This is Giuliano Gemma, who you might recognize as the detective in Tenebrae, who could never figure out the end of Peter Neal's novels. Who else is in this? We got Jeffrey Lewis. Now, talk about people just like Michael J. Pollard, another character actor I never ever expected to see in an Italian film. Jeffrey Lewis. Look this dude up if you don't know who I'm talking about. I mean, iconic American character actor. I don't think he ever...
He's been in lots of stuff.
Oh, it's crazy. Like, he's one of those people that just talks a certain way, carries himself a certain way, very distinct. Just awesome. Cinzia Monreal is in this, or Cinzia Monreale, I'm not sure how to say her name. She has been killed by Fulci so many times. City of the Living Dead, she vomited up her guts. House by the Cemetery, she got a freaking knife through the head. In the Beyond, she coughed up her... no, wait, she didn't cough up anything. She got her throat bitten out. You know, these are good things. But yeah, Cynthia Monreal is in this. I said that already. Donald O'Brien, again, from 7 Bloodstained Orchids. And on cinematography duty is Sergio Salvati once again. Brad, tell me about Silver Saddle. What did you think of it?
Well, first of all, about Jeffrey Lewis, whenever I think of him, I think of his character in Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot.
Oh,
and also,
yeah.
he is...
Nice.
Yeah, he's Juliet Lewis's father.
Ew.
You knew that, didn't you?
I mean, I like Juliet Lewis, but still, that's not someone you want to be the father of.
She has a father, and it is he.
Cool.
I thought this was kind of a... It was a very serviceable spaghetti western. It was pretty much middle of the road. It was a plot that I've seen in other spaghetti westerns and action films. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dump on the movie. But when you take the 3 and you've got one with Franco Nero and George Hilton and another one with Fabio Testi and Thomas Million, you know, your third is Silver Saddle, and it's just not... I just didn't feel like there's a lot of pop to it.
Yeah.
It's perfectly... it's a fine film. It's just... It's kind of middle of the road.
Yeah. Well, it's a late 70s spaghetti western, so it's always a weird thing going on there. Like...
But, and it is a throwback because it's not one of those... reinventing the wheel spaghetti westerns. It's
a lot of those weird artsy ones, like you mentioned earlier, Keoma and Menaja. This is very much a, hey, let's entertain people. Hey, let's have some gunfights and some crazy explosions and shit. Let's have a cute kid.
Yeah, really,
what was that?
It's more like an American western, I think. Really?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and that's a good point. It's really strange to see the Old West with 70s haircuts. If this wasn't a Western, I would have thought it was a porno. This does not have a lot of atmosphere. I mean, it has atmosphere, but I was waiting for the clothes to come off, I mean, not with the kid, obviously. Come on, not sick. We got cheesy theme song because, that's something we didn't mention with frickin' For the Apocalypse. The music told the story of the movie.
Yeah.
This does the same thing, but to much shittier effect.
Much.
Dubbing is really bad on this one. Squibs were good. So that's Squibs 1, dubbing 0. There are some comedic elements. They're not great. They're not terrible. The worst thing in the movie are the impromptu grenades. I think that was the worst plot. That might be one of the worst plot points I've seen in a long time. Basically, they made grenades out of what you'd make your homemade volcano out of. And yet somehow the explosions have fire in them. I don't have a clue. It is kind of a sweet film. The kid isn't that annoying.
Strangely enough.
The kid didn't bother me that much. This is not a spoiler, but he does ride a little horse. Did you see that shit? I made my wife watch that. I thought I hallucinated that shit. He's like, wait for me. And you see he's riding something because he's coming around this wall way too fast. And sure enough, he's got one of those little tiny miniaturized horses, which look like living My Little Ponies. And that is sick. Fucked up shit.
I'm against it.
I'm against it too. God didn't want that. Anyway.
No one ordered this.
I mean, come on,
So-
you know. You know what they should have done? They should have cut the legs off a horse and put the bloody stumps in roller skates like an American movie, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let me ask you this. If you're a Fulci fan, should you see this?
I'll go ahead and say no. I'm not saying this is a bad movie, but the fact that I didn't have high hopes for this. In fact, my hopes were pretty low, and I was still kind of disappointed. No, not a recommend, but not, don't avoid by any means. If you're
Right.
if you listen to this and you're still curious, definitely go for it. You won't be, horrified or anything, but yeah, this is kind of non-essential.
I agree.
Do you have any other thoughts on that one, dude?
Not a single thought.
There was a whore named Sheba. I like that. Dude, I just ran out of notes. The next 3 movies I have absolutely no notes on other than cast. I must be really confident. Or stupid.
I admire your tenaciousness.
I admire how stupid. We're going to fast forward another 2 years. And Fulci finally directs a crime film. It is called Contraband, and it is from 1980. And this is probably nihilistic as shit.
Probably.
Probably.
Question mark.
All right, the plot on IMDb. I'll read the short one because the long one looks long. This person's trying to warn you. Here you go. Cigarette smugglers in Naples run into problems with cocaine operations being set up by a rival smuggler, full of violence, including a woman's face being burned off with a blowtorch and a graphic rape scene. He had me at graphic rape scene.
Love it.
Okay, Contraband, Fabio Testi, once again. We have Luciano Rossi in the small part. I love Luciano Rossi. We have the single greatest Fulci cameo of all time. Lucio Fulci. Ever. With a machine gun wrecking shit. Man, it's awesome. Once again, we have Sergio Salvati doing the great, really great cinematography. Makes certain scenes. Soundtrack by Fabio Frizzi. Have to mention the disco song.
Are you going to play the disco song?
I'm going to play the disco song at the end of this show, I promise you. Lucio Fulci co-wrote the song. Did you know that?
I thought that I saw that, but I thought that could not be right.
It's true. Lucio Fulci, before he was a director, sometime after he dropped out of medical school, and before he went to the film industry, he actually wrote pop songs.
Really? Are you pulling?
I am not making this up. This is a real deal. I read it in that Fulci book, Beyond the Darkness. So there you go. If that guy's making it up, then that's fine. I'm quoting that dude. Anyway, Stephen Thrower. Yeah, the Stephen Thrower book on Fulci. The disco song, I'm a shameless fan of disco. I love me some disco. And it's something about that disco song is just, it's so perfect. But this is for Fulci's only venture into this genre, because as most Italian genre maniacs will tell you, when the giallo fell off in popularity, the crime film became an unstoppable force. The crime film, I would love to know how many of these were made, because there are so many of these. Is it Polita Cecchi? I can't even say it. Politi.
Always say Polizio Tesci.
Polizio Tecchi. I'm going to go with yours, because you sound smart when you say it. I sound like an idiot Fleeky-taki?
Lucio Poopy?
Loco Lacapisai? Leaky Pee-Pee? Anyway.
Leaky Pee-Pee.
I said it, folks. You can't shut me down, Leaky Pee-Pee. I think I'm going to change my name to DJ Leaky Pee-Pee. I require a trough under my wheels of steel.
Whoa.
Where am I going? I think I got into the cocaine a little bit there. Anyway, I like how I gotta take a moment. Oh my God, Brad, what am I doing?
I don't know.
Oh,
but I like it.
I'm out laughing at my own stupid thing I said. I'm such an idiot.
You know I'm going to call you DJ Leaky Pee-Pee now.
Let me get back to Contraband. Please let me get back to it. I'm talking to myself. You're not keeping me from anything. Okay. I love in this movie how Fabio Testi is Luca, the nice smuggler. Like, he just smuggles cigarettes nice. He's not bad drugs guy. You know, I love that. I love that.
Right.
Oh, that's so great. Because you think about, the giants of the genre, like Umberto Lenzi and Fernando De Leo. And then Fulci's like, okay, I can do this. I can make one of these things. Let me do it my way. And man, this movie has some of the most satisfying gore ever. Packed into a genre that, is mostly brutally violent. I've never seen, ever, a crime film from Italy at this time period that was this nasty.
Yeah. It was actually the first Eurocrime film that I ever saw.
Wow.
And I will say, unabashedly, unashamedly, I love Contraband. Like, it is without a doubt my favorite film of all the ones we've talked about tonight.
Really?
Or that we will talk about. Oh,
nice.
No doubt. It is absurdly late for a Eurocrime film of its ilk. I think I've said ilk twice tonight.
I like that.
Anyway, thank you. I remember reading your review on Do Moviethon that said if you could get past the boat chase at the first, then you're in for a great ride. I'm paraphrasing that last part, but you were totally right. I think that if the gore is great, I think the story is great. I like Fabio Testi in it. I like Luciano Rossi and his small bit part. It's got a Franco connection with Agita Wilson. The disco, the gore again, the plot there at the end and how the tables are turned. It's got some Fulci moments on a beach. It's just a fantastic film. I mean, just fantastic. Nice. I think that if you don't think that you will like any of the films that we've talked about tonight, but you do like Fulci, then I think it's an automatic must to see this film.
Yeah. There is a rape scene. It's not, when you watch Italian genre stuff, especially this violent, sleazy shit, it's on a scale of 1 to rape, it's pretty bad, but not the worst. So just to warn you, it's there if you're watching this in mixed company or you yourself really cannot handle rape scenes. I'd say pass or watch it alone. The Godfather-esque killing of all the people, that montage of just killing after killing after killing was really good. The machine gun to the face at one point is almost as good as the Inglourious Basterds machine gun to the face. Not quite as good, but surprisingly solid moment in the movie. And thank you for the boat scene reminder. this movie has a terrible opening. They're evading the police in the water with their cigarette boats, and he's yelling out orders to these people to do all these maneuvers, and then no one does the maneuvers. The boats just keep doing what the boats were doing anyway.
One of the hilarious parts of that boat scene is the cops catch up to the bodies that have been thrown out of the boat, or the boat exploded, I can't remember. And you see the bodies, and you're like, wow, Fulci has no money whatsoever, because those are totally dummies. They're mannequins. And then the cop's like, those are mannequins. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
You were worried. You were like sweating,
really
dude. You're
worried.
You're like, oh, fuck, man. Richard's an idiot. You would recommend this garbage. Oh, that's good.
No, I didn't think that, but I thought, wow, he's production budget 0. He's stolen from some sort of store.
Please, God, give Fulci some money. Please.
Please.
Somebody. Anyway, that's amazing. Oh man, this is another cynical movie. Wow, when Fabio Testi sports that pimp fur, like he puts on a fur coat that would make Zsa Zsa Gabor blush. Like, I mean, he rocks that shit. It's so funny.
He really does.
Yeah, I have to say, you're going to ask me, I highly recommend this to Fulci fans, to Eurocrime fans. You have to see this. This is a pretty badass movie.
I love it.
What is it about Fulci being too late to the party? Was that his thing?
I don't know.
Like, he was on point with the giallos. He's on point with the spaghetti westerns. He was ahead of his time with some of these really like biting satires. And then like...
Yeah, I mean, once again, 1980, Yeah. I mean, this was after he'd made Zombie.
Yeah. This is the film, I think, immediately following it.
Yeah. God, I love Contraband.
Very
what
interesting.
A great movie.
And him trying to make a legitimate Western, in 78. Maybe he was maybe you were right. Maybe he was trying to appeal to the American market or something. Because in the 70s,
Had I ever told you? Go ahead.
What was that?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, because the American Western was going strong in the 70s thanks to Clint Eastwood, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, had I ever told you how much I loved Contraband before?
You did mention it once before, that it was just, I think I took it in terms of it was your favorite, one of your favorite crime films.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So yes.
It's just so gory. It's gory and bloody and just crazy.
I mean, that face melts off and separates. Like you can see the tendons burning underneath it, and then you got the exploding bed. And those bodies are just gross.
Yeah.
Man, it doesn't get any sleazier or nastier than Contraband. It just...
Oh man, it's got the guy in it that looks like Richard Mulligan from Empty Nest, whom you will later see in 2013 After the Fall of New York.
I need to watch that.
You know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about.
Life goes on.
That's a good look.
So do we.
That's a good look to have.
It's a great look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I say we take another break.
From a place beyond time comes a terrifying challenge beyond imagination. Conquest. Two men join forces in a a struggle for power. In a realm of fear. Conquest. An act of courage to conquer the Queen of Darkness. They faced the armies of evil to win the weapons of light.
Okay, folks, we're down to our final two selections here. The year is 1983. The film is called Conquest. And I'm going to the IMDb page here because that's what I've been doing this whole show. As I really don't want to explain the plot of this. It would hurt me in the insides. Okay, here we go. A young man armed with a magical bow and arrows embarks on a mystical journey through a mystical land to rid it all of evil and join forces with an outlaw to take down an evil witch bent on claiming the magic bow for evil. How'd I do?
Great.
All that
sums it up.
That wasn't me. That was all written in. All those pauses and extra stuff.
But you read it.
I read it. That's what matters. We've got...
That's all that counts.
Okay, that's not good. We've got Jorge Rivero from Evil Eye, the greatest giallo. No. It's called Evil Eye.
You mean Eroticafalia?
Yes. What a stinky movie. It's just stinky.
Is it bad?
I'm going to watch it again. I'm looking forward to watching it again, but man, it sucks. Don't expect it to be good. Expect it to be sucks. Also in this movie is Andrea Occhipinti from New York Ripper. Right? Andrea Occhipinti. Yes. Oh, Blade in the Dark. And New York Ripper? Yes. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay. Love that dude. This is the same year as Blade in the Dark. Awesome. Let's see. We got the lovely Gioia Scola, who was in a movie called Raiders of Atlantis, which has been
I have not seen.
I know that movie has been evading me for some reason. I've heard a lot of things about it. It's supposed to be pretty outrageous. We got soundtrack by Claudio Simonetti, and Claudio Simonetti really, really, really did the soundtrack for this.
Really?
He really. I first saw this movie, and I think we've talked about this before on the show. I saw Conquest when my mom rented it for me. She actually brought it home from the video store when I was home. Probably on a Saturday or something. And I was really into it until Andrea Occhipinti gets hit with a poisonous dart, and his flesh starts to bubble up and leak pus. That freaked me out, and I don't remember watching the rest of the movie. I might have turned it off after that because I was so grossed out. So, yeah, some Fulci gore affected me as a child. Because this was 84,
Thanks,
I think.
Mom.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mom. So, yeah, 8 years old, just totally traumatized by bubbling flesh. And I would have a lot of bubbling flesh when I hit puberty.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert.
There goes that trough. I need that trough again. The most famous aspect of this movie for those watching it, I think everyone's reaction is pretty much the same. Why is this filmed in soft focus?
Mm-hmm.
The entire film.
Whole thing.
The whole thing. Not a single frame of this movie escapes the soft focus Vaseline on the lens, quote unquote, of this entire film. I don't know what they were smoking. maybe they thought they were hiding stuff and making it more mystical. I shot this during my mystical period.
Possibly.
What do you think of Conquest, Brad?
I don't know. It's good, but it's bad.
Oh yeah.
But I like it. I mean, there's some neat special effects. I mean, they're low budget, but it's some neat stuff going on. I think that if I was 12, it would probably be the greatest movie ever. Because when I was a kid, I loved Krull, like the
me
throwing
too.
star, and I haven't seen it since then. I've kind of kept an eye out for it, but kind of not.
Wait a minute, you kept an eye out for Krull? Isn't there a Cyclops in it?
Probably.
There you go.
It's Fulci, capitalizing on Conan the Barbarian, like a lot of folks did.
Yeah,
it's part
and
Beastmaster.
What's the other one? What's the big one that it's ripping off on? Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like you said, the whole thing is in soft focus. There's a weird chrome-faced woman or no-faced woman. I can't remember.
Yeah, I love her.
It will put you to sleep.
Oh yeah.
It will keep you awake at night. I mean, it's a lot of things. I think I'm just going to go ahead and say, as a Fulci fan, you should totally see it because it's crazy.
It'll blow your mind.
I mean,
the chick with the gold mask really is like one of the best things about the movie.
Yeah.
She's really striking looking. She's a beautiful actress, obviously. And then you have like her visions of being killed with the magical bow and arrow. And it's all just really brilliant. But on the same...
because there's not really any arrows, are there? Aren't they like shafts of light?
They're lasers. They are frickin' lasers. And it's brilliant. But then you also have, at the same time, you have nunchucks made out of like animal skin and bones. And it's like, no. It is hideously embarrassing. So therefore, it's wonderful. Like the moment Jorge Rivero breaks out those nunchucks, I'm so embarrassed for him and for me watching it. And I'm like, God, like, no, like, you can't do this. But then they do. You can't.
Well, let me ask you if you got this feeling, but I get the feeling that it's the way it opens up. It's almost like it opens up 20 minutes later than it should.
Right.
Because it seems like there's already a story going. Like everyone knows who everybody is in the film, and it's almost like we're missing part of it. I mean, we're not, but it doesn't start in a way. What am I trying to say? Like it opens up with the people all gathered together, and they give him the bow, and they're like, "Go do your thing and save us all," and then they disappear.
Yeah, to me that's the Clash of the Titans bullshit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Release the Kraken and whatnot. Well, as a Fulci, would a Fulci fan like this?
Yes. There's gore. There's very awkward wolfmen. I mean, awkward wolfmen.
Yeah.
Like, there are actors speaking lines, and the mouths on these things are not moving. I mean, it's genius. This is, like you said, you have to see it to believe it. Yeah. Man, is your phone buzzing as bad as mine is right now?
Yeah, it's been buzzing like that all night.
Wow, it just got really hideous just now. But anyway.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, this is the film, if I'm not mistaken, where it was going to be big budget and a big deal, and he broke away from Sacchetti. And
oh man,
it turned out to be a failure, and him and Sacchetti did not work together again, and that's kind of like, I think a lot of people see that as the beginning of the end.
It goes to show you how directors build their cult of personality thing, and this is especially true of Italian directors, where they take credit for other people's stuff, Argento, or they dick over their friends, Fulci, because they think they're going to make this big, profit. And what they do is they make it public. As far as I know, Fulci and Dardano Sacchetti had a public falling out.
No good.
And it's really stealing. No one should know about that shit. Hey, they didn't work together that much anymore. But you hear like that Fulci was just calling him out, and it's like, and you can see, the quality of Fulci's work fall. I mean, this is a lucky movie. I mean, it just happens to be okay. It happens to be so crazy it works. But none of Fulci's stuff ever recovered, really. And who knows? Maybe Dardano was a dick. But it seems to me like directors get these huge egos where they are the movies they make. It's like, no, you are Lucio Fulci with, Sergio Salvati. You are Lucio Fulci with Franco Nero. You're doing, it's a team effort, It's like Argento trying to take credit for composing the music to Inferno at one point. Like he basically said
the complete story.
He said something in an interview. Argento said and told someone in an interview that he either had to help Keith Emerson write the music for Inferno, or he basically gave him all the ideas. And Keith Emerson was like, "Fuck you, dude. What are you talking about?" It was a funny story, but Emerson was like, "I'll never work with that jerk again."
Right.
So it's like that cult of personality. I'm the director, the auteur kind of thing. And as much as I love Fulci as a director in all these genres, especially horror, it's like, no, man, and he fell hard.
Man.
When we do the next part of this is the later horrors of Fulci. The last movies he did from 82 on, and we're going to hit some bumpy roads.
Yeah.
It's like when you're eating ice cream and you find that there was a human finger frozen in it, and you're like, man, that's a bumpy road. And my rocky road?
Dang.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Do you have anything else to add about Conquistador?
No, sir.
All right, we are moving on and moving down into the pit of despair. I'm sorry. Let me start over. Okay, 1984, The New Gladiators. Something 2072 something movie something. Here's the plot. In 2072 Italy, the ruthless CEO of a TV network plots to stage a modern series of gladiator games for ratings while one contestant learns of a conspiracy behind the true nature of the results. Oh boy. Yeah,
Let me take this one first and just save you.
Yeah, Brad, we'll start. Who's in this? I mean, talk a little bit about this cast. Or what, you know what? Whatever you want to do.
Okay. You have got Donald O'Brien again in this. You have got a lead character named Drake, played by Jared Martin. You have got, in a tiny role, Fred Williamson. And you have got the inimitable Claudio Casanelli, who I think died not long after this film, and Al Cliver. Basically, this is Fulci's Escape from New York clone, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Knockoff, in a way. Plus,
yeah.
maybe, looking forward a little bit to The Running Man.
Yeah.
It suffers from a lack of budget.
Big time.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
It has got one really good scene. And it happens early on, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The lead character is like the hotshot star of this reality TV show where people ride around on motorcycles like they're gladiators. Yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And for reasons that I did not fully understand, they're going to get rid of him. So they're going to frame him for the murder of his own wife. And they show his wife at home. And you're peering through her window, and the lights are going on and off, and all of a sudden there's these people, these men surrounding her, and the lights go on and off, and her terror builds, and they close in on her, and you get some eye shots of her, of her eyes, like a Fulci trademark, and it's really a well done scene, certainly the best scene in the entire film.
I agree.
So you're getting a bit of that Fulci for your time. They arrest him. They're using mind games on him and trying to brainwash him. And basically he leads a rebellion. And Al Cliver's in it.
Rockhead.
Old
Rockhead. That's, yeah.
It's not a terrible... It's not a terrible film. It's just not a great one or a good one. It's just
it has 5 or 6 set pieces that I really enjoyed that didn't make sense with each other, but in the context of this future world, they could potentially make sense. I love Howard Ross. He was in New York Ripper and Werewolf Woman.
Oh, yeah.
He's this enforcer for the evil TV station. Claudio Casanelli, he, even more than Al Cliver, he was definitely in this movie. That dude, one of my favorite movies with him is The Suspicious Death of a Minor. If you can find that one, that's a good movie. Valeria Cavalli is in this. She was in A Blade in the Dark playing Katia. I love me some Katia in that movie. Donald O'Brien again from Seven Bloodstained Orchids. There was a Fulci cameo according to IMDb. Did you spot Fulci in this?
I don't recall spotting Fulci.
Okay, I will watch this again one day. But man, it's going to be tough. And I will look for Fulci. And the thing is, I really wasn't in the mood for this. See, I wanted to screw over Troma. Look, Troma, I don't care that you have this. I'm going to buy the VHS and rip it to DVD. And when I did that, I saw scenes and I was really excited. But I kept putting it off because I knew the action scenes were going to suck, and boy, was I right. Full disclosure, people, I fast-forwarded through every single motorcycle scene. And I think I fast-forwarded through all the gladiator fighting scenes. That's just, I know it's not right, but it's what I did. I will atone for this one day.
Hey, we're the ones that watched it.
That's right. Hal Yamanuchi, he's the Asian dude. He does the kung fu fighting and the karate and everything. He played every Asian character in every Italian post-apocalyptic movie. If you look at his IMDb, he is in this guy. I mean, this guy's a prolific actor. He's still going today after many, many years. But he's in 2019, After the Fall of New York. He's in the Bronx. What's that Bronx movie called?
Escape from the Bronx.
Yeah, Escape from the Bronx.
The Bronx Warriors.
Yep, he's in 2020 Gladiators of the Future. So yeah, that's not too shabby right there. Very nice. But I gotta say, even just the fighting scenes, there's a lot of training scenes where they're being trained to fight better, harder, faster.
Uh-huh.
They're terribly executed. I really think that all of the action in this movie is piss poor. Like, whoever they had for stunts and what do you call that? Choreography stuff? Hideous. Just wretched. And that's supposed to be the point of the movie. The surprising stuff is when we meet Kazumi Chinieri. He was in Murder Rock as the detective. When we meet his character, he's this computer programmer, designer, and he has all the secrets behind what's really going on. The scene where the main chick goes looking for him.
That was a good scene.
All that stuff is amazing. It's like really gothic, weird. It's like gothic / futuristic. That is like the best. I knew you'd find something special there too. It's the best shit in the movie. The whole movie should have been that.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you brought that up because that was a good. I watched that scene twice actually. I rewound it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Went back and watched it again.
It's almost giallo. It's almost like a giallo.
It is. It is. Yeah.
You've also got Cynthia Monreal again. She dies early in the movie, but in virtual form. They have a Pit in the Pendulum scene. A very gory Pit in the Pendulum scene, which I really liked. I was hoping there would be more of that stuff in the movie. And that scene, just those kind of like Clockwork Orange-esque villains in their, like those dandies in their suits coming to kill that dude's wife. And they're whistling and you know what it is? It sounds like I'm talking about 3 or 4 different movies here.
It does. And
that's what's working in the new Gladiator's favor, because it has very little else going in its favor.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
It's interesting, I think, that this is 1984, and we all know that I really, really enjoy Murder Rock, which was made the same year.
Yes.
And Murder Rock, to me, is kind of like phenomena for Argento, and not equating the films at all, but Murder Rock is the last film that I know that is really good, in my opinion, that Fulci did.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that this was made the same year, because I think that we're going to find out in our next show that there was a drop-off. And I texted you about the scene with the main character's wife. I said, I hope that there are moments in the future horror films. I mean, I hope there are some good films there, but I hope there are at least moments where I'm like Fulci.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up that point about when they went after the computer creator, because that was a well-executed scene. I did enjoy that quite a bit, and I'm just hoping that there are moments like that in the other films. The later ones.
Spoiler alert, my friend. There's enough good stuff in late Fulci that we are going to do a huge episode on his later stuff. There is, I think, quite a bit of redeemable things. I mean, and how many of these will be recommendable movies to people outside of Fulci completists? We'll see about that. But there are moments that are surprising and like reaffirming that the dude still had it, but just bad luck and maybe a disinterest. Maybe he wanted to retire but had to keep going, you know?
Well, it's funny because I think that a lot of his later horror films are not due for a reappraisal. I think they're due for an appraisal period. Because I'm sitting here looking at my Blu-ray shelf, and I've got Zombie, City of the Living Dead, The House by the Cemetery, and The New York Ripper on Blu-ray. The House by the Cemetery is my favorite Italian horror film ever. And yet, I've not seen Touch of Death, The Sweet House of Horrors, Enigma, Demonia. So, I mean, obviously I love Fulci, but yet I've never taken the time to watch a lot of these later horror films. I've seen, past this, I've seen one.
Wow.
And I tried to watch Nightmare in a
Cat in the Brain.
Nightmare Concert, A Cat in the Brain, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get very far, but I will for the show. So, I mean, like I said, I don't think they're even due a reappraisal. I believe they're due an appraisal, period.
Good point. I would kill for House of Clocks and Sweet House of Horrors on Blu-ray. Like, that would be, I would lay my money down, man. That's a good pair right there. But you know what?
Yeah.
Discussion for the next part.
Exactly.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Is there anything you see besides, like, his propensity for eyeballs? Is there anything you see as a recurring theme in his non-horror stuff, or do you have do you get a sense of the man himself from these movies?
A real distaste for authority.
Yeah, big time.
A possible... It's hard to say whether or not he had a vendetta against the church, because in Italy, especially at that time, the church was the authority.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like now. But, yeah, just a serious disdain for positions of authority that goes beyond what I would normally think an iconoclast type director would be, exhibiting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I would say that he got into a lot of hot water over the eroticist / the senator likes women.
No doubt.
A lot. Because, I mean, he defiles some nuns. I mean, it's serious stuff as far as the Catholic Church goes.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. I'd say that's definitely running through.
The Vatican and the Mafia are hand in hand murdering people in that movie.
Right.
And the most corrupt, the most evil person, at least out of everybody I gathered, is the Cardinal.
Yeah, in that film. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's the scariest character. Like, you cross him and you'll die. That's what you get from the movie.
It's interesting, out of the big three of the Italian horror directors, is that Argento did not go up against the church as far as I, can recollect. And it seemed like Bava was just so hungry to make the next movie that he didn't really do anything controversial. Made fantastic films.
Yeah, and he slipped some he slipped some hidden stuff into his movies, but never overt. Nothing overt or offensive.
Fulci's putting his thumb in the church's eye, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's neat to see. Bava was a little older. He's an older generation. And then you have Fulci in the middle, then you have Argento. It's a really interesting study of the three filmmakers. You get a really cool contrast, of the because they were born when they were born and when they were, in their most active periods. It's fantastic stuff.
Well, let me back up and ask you, would you recommend the new Gladiators for a Fulci fan?
Oh, fuck no. I mean,
really?
Maybe. I think other people might find it more fun than I did. I wasn't in the mood to laugh at the bad action scenes, so those were impossible for me to sit through. Maybe if I'm drunk off my ass, I'll really enjoy it more. Can't recommend it. When it comes to Fulci completists, I know you're gonna watch it anyway. I say, look for the good. It's in there, but it's hard to find.
I want to say, based on the two scenes that we really talked about, I would say go ahead. It's on YouTube in its entirety.
Yeah. Where's the widescreen, man?
Kill.
Talk about a movie that should be in widescreen. It would help a little.
Yeah, it would help a little. Yeah, I agree.
the thing I get from like what I get from all this shit, like all this genre hopping and other stuff, is something I could never put my finger on before. Fulci was a sad dude. Like, not like a pathetic person, but like a morose kind of like blue dude, like full of ennui or something, you know, like really there's this arc of sadness in his movies that may not be intentional. Certain plots have sad moments in them. Obviously, For the Apocalypse is sad. Beatrice Cenci is sad. Frickin' New Gladiators is sad in a different way. No, there's this theme of like these leave me with this feeling of just oh man, like kind of a pleasant but very like almost tangible kind of sadness to his career. And
almost somber.
Of what?
Somber, maybe.
This, I am even more of a fan of Fulci now than I was before a couple days ago, and I finally got around to some of these titles I'd never seen. Like, he is my favorite Italian horror director. Maybe my favorite Italian director, period.
Yeah, he's got, when you weigh the good against the bad, it's the good way outweighs the bad.
Definitely.
Well, there's the third part of our leg of our journey.
Man. So, this was a prolific son of a bitch.
Yeah.
We've covered so many movies, dude. And we have many
near what all he did.
And we have many to go. I'm super psyched about part 4. When we're going to get to part 4, I have no idea. But I think it'll be easier to kind of like get jazzed about the horror stuff. Except for Enigma.
Well,
and Demonia.
I watched them chronologically.
Baby. You watch what?
Yeah, Manhattan Baby. I watched these in chronological order.
Yeah.
So I was genre hopping big time.
No shit.
Are you going to tell them what we've got next for our next show?
Heck yeah. We talked about it before. We talked about the Night of the Devils Blu-ray coming out. And Brad had a great idea to compare Night of the Devils with Mario Bava's segment called The Wordalac in Black Sabbath. It's Black Sabbath, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we're totally going to watch both of those. We're even going to watch different versions of Black Sabbath to get an idea. And we're going to compare the two. I wonder how hard the story is to find. Maybe we could read the story. That might be fun.
I have the story.
Oh man, I just did a Hysteria Continues gasp.
Gay gasp.
Yeah, I totally did one.
Nice.
Man, we ain't virgins no more.
Man, I listened to the Hell Light Hysteria Continues, and man, his trivia quiz is tough.
Oh, was his really difficult?
It was hard.
Yeah, it was really good. I will never do trivia.
Oh man.
How about question time, where I didn't even know what you like? I panicked on so many of those questions and blew it. So I definitely couldn't handle a trivia show.
Oh,
Jeez.
man.
So yes, we will be back whenever we get to it, which is hopefully soon, of the Wordalac segment of Black Sabbath, how it compares to Night of the Devils, how much I love Night of the Devils, and shit, man, I might even read something for this show.
Wow.
I know. That's sick.
Crazy.
I can't even read. This is so good. Well, folks, thanks, and hope you enjoyed the show, and we're out of here. Say goodnight, Brad.
Good night, Brad.
I still like the concept of Count Bradula. I'm still with that. That's hot.
Yeah.
Would
Never
you
go to Count Dracula with your troubles.
That's what happened to the dude in Young Dracula. He woke up next to Bradula.
Bradula.
Oh, man. I wish I had a name that could work with words. Like
DJ Leaky Pee-Pee?
Hey folks, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you if you have some comments on the show. richardsplash@gmail.com is the email. If you want to check us out on Facebook, leave some comments there. Facebook.com/HelloDoomedShow. You can go to cinemasomnambulist.com. It's the blog. You can leave comments there. Or go to doomedmoviethon.com and check out our archives where the bulk of our beautiful voices live forever.
Hello, my name is Rod Barnett.
I'm Troy Gwynn.
And we are your genial co-hosts for NashyCast, the podcast about the films of Paul Naschy. If you don't know who Paul Naschy is, you need to learn.
Spanish horror icon, writer, director, actor, makeup artist.
He is all of these things and more. Paul Naschy, one of the greatest genre filmmakers of all time. New titles like Horror Rises from the Tomb,
Vengeance of the Mummy, Werewolf Shadow,
House of Psychotic Women,
Blue Eyes of the Broken Doll,
Mark of the Werewolf make you want to see more.
Watch the film, then come hear our stunning, brilliant commentary.
Stunning and brilliant. That's us. Think that's too egotistical? Think that sounds silly? Think we come off as assholes?
Look, if nothing else, let us tell you this. Blood, nudity, beautiful women, werewolves and turtlenecks.
Nipples. Lots of nipples. Both male and female. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's going to want to listen to us after this, man. Find us at The Bloody Pit of Rod, or
you can subscribe to us on iTunes.
Give us a listen. And if we scare you too much, well, maybe Spanish horror is not your thing. I don't know. 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 I don't know.